Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we are cracking open Twilio's latest quarterly report. This report is like a breadcrumb trail of numbers, but today we will try to find the real story. Here's the hook. Twilio just dropped their financial results. Did they finally turn a profit? Are they still burning cash like a California wildfire? And what's the deal with those confusing customer metrics? We'll simplify it all and you might be surprised what we find. Before we dive in, if you appreciate us decoding these corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed to our channel. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below where you can discuss with fellow investors. First up, let's check the balance sheet. It's a snapshot of what Twilio owns and owes. Think of it like a financial health check. Here's a big number. It increased from about $421 million to $467 million. This is good news. It means they are holding more cash. But is it from operations or something else? Another important number. This is basically Twilio's savings account. That number is sitting pretty steady at around $1.9 billion, which means they are still keeping a lot of money in safe investments they can sell off. Now look at what people owe them. Accounts receivable, that number is about the same as end of last year, around $570 million. It would be concerning if it was rising, as it would indicate customers weren't paying their bills. So after you add it all up, Twilio's total assets are around $9.8 billion. What about debt? Their long-term debt is roughly the same at about $991 million. And good to see they are not increasing their debt and they have plenty of cash to make their payments, so it's a good situation. Okay, now let's move on to what everyone cares about: revenue, profit, and growth trends. So increased about $125 million year over year. That is an increase of about 12%, which is good, but we want to know if it's sustainable. Also increased, so let's see how that affected profits. So increased, which is excellent. That means they are making more money after accounting for the cost of goods sold. However, let's look at the operating expenses to see what they are doing. Actually decreased by about $30 million. That is great and a big driver of profits. Usually fast-growing technology companies have massive increases in operating expenses to keep up with hiring and scaling costs. And the final result. Last year they lost $55 million, but this year they had a profit of $20 million. Wow, this is pretty big. They moved from a net loss to a net profit. It seems the CEO is actually doing what he's saying. That translates to 0.112 per share. Okay, so they managed to finally generate some real profit. Good for them. Let's check out the cash flow statement. The most important line here is net cash provided by operating activities, how much cash the business actually brings in. If it's at $101 million, that is slightly higher than last year. And as a cherry on top, their income taxes are relatively low. Twilio breaks down its revenue into two main parts: communications and segment. Here's where it gets interesting. Twilio Communications is the big breadwinner, growing 13% year over year. Twilio segment, on the other hand, barely grew. The CEO has a challenge ahead to make this product successful. One last financial data we'll take a quick look at are remaining performance obligations. This is unearned revenue for service they will provide. It's actually at roughly $170 million, which is decent, but it also means their existing subscriptions are low. Something interesting is also their risk section, but nothing too notable to discuss for average investor. Okay, moving to stockholders' equity, this is quite interesting. You can see stock-based compensation is huge. This is a non-cash expense, but it results in real dilution from stock being granted, and then the company having to repurchase stocks to reduce dilution. This is a classic scheme that hurts normal investors. Now let's switch gears and talk about risks. There are a few things we need to highlight from it. The first one is macroeconomic risk. This is just a general statement in case anything happens, for example, war or major incidents that would be harmful, that the company has no control over. They do mention the potential for longer sales cycles, which would mean they spend more time to win a customer. They also say the current macro conditions could reduce demand for or usage of our products. Not very good. A big one is cybersecurity. Data breaches can cost a fortune and ruin reputations. Where's a huge red flag? You would expect them to have this part nailed down. This is mentioned as part of general cybersecurity. There's a mention of operating internationally and potential compliance risks. So let's zoom into that part. They have some services being provided to a small number of. That is very concerning and likely a risk they should remove to avoid trouble with the US government tablet. Let's wrap this up and give you the overall story here. TWILIO is at a turning point. The company managed to have a positive income thanks to all the cuts and changes it has been making in the last few quarters, but it remains to be seen if they can keep this going. The CEO has a tough job ahead balancing growth and income, which has been a major struggle with this company for over a decade now. Their core communications business is quite good, but they need to focus to improve and drive growth from other segments. They need to focus on profitable growth, meaning growing without spending too much. There are risks, but there are a lot of potential upsides too. However, it all remains to be seen if they can execute. Their new CEO seems to be very different than the founder, so it will be interesting to see how he steers the ship. For now, I'm cautiously optimistic about Twilio's future. Alright, that's our breakdown of Twilio's latest filing. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description to discuss. Thanks for watching. See you next time.